Alrighty, good morning everyone and welcome to the show. It is the Level 1 Podcast. I'm DSP. Today is Sunday, the 4th of June, 2023. Our weekend of launch Street Fighter 6 fun continues today. Although today we are breaking things up a bit. Rather than it being constant, non-stop Street Fighter 6, today we're doing some React content over on DSP Reacts, my sister channel. Which is good. You know, I like Street Fighter 6. I played it for 2 straight days. It's been a great experience online, playing with a variety of characters. I've used 4 different characters so far, and I'll be using another one later today. But at the same time, it's good to break it up and not be constantly just doing the same thing over and over. As you know, being a variety content creator, I know that I have people who likely would not like Street Fighter 6 and maybe have been away for a couple of days and aren't interested so much in the game and want other stuff. So today, we reconvene with React-style content. My DSP versus the Internet show. Typically, DSP versus the Internet is held on Saturdays. But because of the release of Street Fighter 6, I decided to delay it a day. And that's going to be today's main stream after this podcast ends. And then tonight, we go back to Street Fighter 6 on the late stream. Now, tomorrow, we also have variety, because it's going to be Street Fighter 6, but also the premiere of Diablo 4. And I'll talk a little bit about that as we get into the schedule, okay? So welcome, everyone. Now, I have a few important things to talk about. First of all, my apologies. I'm late to the stream today for personal reasons. Nothing that I can really actively talk about. It has really nothing whatsoever to do with the streams, but something came up this morning. I had to deal with it right away. I have. Hopefully, it will not bother me again today. If it does, that's life, right? Sometimes things happen, and sometimes, you know, it's not good stuff, and, you know, you got to deal with it. And when stuff happens, you deal with it, and that's it. You know, I hope you understand. You know, I'm doing my best to balance everything going on. As you know, I've been talking about this for weeks now. Things have been kind of going on behind the scenes that are annoying and frustrating and personal. And they really have nothing to do with the stream. So I don't want to, you know, reveal to you guys all my personal stuff. It's none of anyone's business. But it sucks when it affects the business, because then it does become your business that the stream was late. You know, I'm about a half an hour late, I would say, right, to the podcast today. So today's podcast will be a abridged podcast. It will not be as long as a usual show, just so you guys know. But we'll cover some topics. I'm going to talk a little bit more about Street Fighter 6 after yesterday. We have some changes coming to my React show next week that I'd like to tell you about. All right, and then we'll probably just do some Q&A. All right, we'll do a shorter show today. Now, I have another very important thing to tell you all. As of this morning, I've updated my tips link. Okay, so if you're going to tip me during a live stream, if you're going to tip me between the streams, which a lot of people have actually been doing recently with Street Fighter 6, some people have been like tipping overnight or tipping between the streams. I updated the link. Okay, so you need to use this new link, and it'll be showing up in the chat right now. If you use the tips command, the link will pop up and you can use it right away. But the reason I'm really bringing this up is not necessarily for people who do it during the live stream, but people who kind of use the link between streams. You know, if you're here for the live stream, you're probably using the tip command anyway, and it works. But I don't want people to be sending, using the outdated link. This has happened before quite a few times in the past as well, where I changed a few things around with how I receive contributions, and basically some people are lagging behind. It'll be months later, and people are trying to send me, a tip or something, say, Phil, doesn't work. I'm like, well, it does. You just got to use the updated link, all right? So as of this morning, we have a new tips link. Please use the new tips link. I hope people will. I hope that it's not a situation where now everyone's going to be messaging me today and basically saying, oh, it doesn't work, everything's wrong. I'm like, well, it's because I updated it. Please use the updated link. It's going to be tough, though. It's like, whenever I switch anything, seriously, whenever I switch anything at all, it's basically like, it's tough to get the word out because people get used to doing the same thing every day. For example, 1 Minute Man tips every day on stream. Is he watching every stream? I actually don't know. But he tips every day. Does that mean he's going to know the new link? I don't know. What about a couple of people who've been tipping overnight, for Street Fighter 6? I hope that they're watching this podcast, right? The thing is, I don't want to go crazy posting it everywhere and all over the place. Because if you start posting up, oh, tip me here, the people are going to be like, oh, why is Phil doing this? Why is he asking for money? No, I'm just saying the link changed. But if I post it up everywhere, then people are going to be like, oh, you see Phil's being greedy again. Like, so I don't want to cause problems, I just hope that people will use the new link, okay? Okay, so that being said, that's out of the way. Let's go into the podcast for today. First of all, let us talk about the status of Street Fighter 6. I've now played Street Fighter 6 for 2 straight days, and I want to let everyone know what I think, okay? I still love the game. I think that it's actually... oh, really? Darren is saying the link in the stream description is the old link? You could be right. Let me fix that. I tried changing it around last night everywhere, and you're right. There it is. Thank you, Darren, for saying that. I changed it in the video descriptions. I changed it in the channel information. I changed it with the Nightbot command, but I didn't change it in the description of the stream. So I probably have to do that for all the streams for today now. Ugh, see what I mean? It's all over the place. This is what I mean. And undoubtedly, I know what's going to happen is someone's going to try to contribute today and be like, it's not working. So, okay. There we are. So, I got that. And I guess I'll have to change the other one later because it's not on my screen right now. Okay. All right. So, let's talk about Street Fighter 6. I've now played Street Fighter 6 for how many days? 2 straight days, right? Non-stop. And first of all, still an amazing online experience. I think I've maybe had, in the entirety of the 2 days I've played, 5 matches that could be considered laggy. And even then, it's not the whole match. It's maybe like certain moments in the match I would notice that there was some significant lag. But for the most part, it's not even noticeable. And some matches, most matches, I've seen none. Probably the best online experience I've ever had with a fighting game. I mean that, too. And I hope that this keeps up. I hope that this experience of great online play does continue as I continue to play the game. I've played with 4 characters so far. Blanca, JP, Honda, and Lily. Okay? Blanca is interesting. Although he does have some special moves and things that he used to have back in the day, he is very different. They changed a lot of his move properties, and especially with things like the Blanca-chan doll that can do setups with electricity. It definitely feels like they were going for something very different with Blanca in this game. I do like the character, but I get the feeling he's more of a gimmick character and has certain setups for moves to work, but I don't necessarily know that he's going to be a character that will be high-level tournament viable, okay? JP, the ultimate keep-away character. He has a ridiculous amount of projectiles and or keep-away moves to get you from mid to long range and keep you there. And he has a lot of things that can lure you into a sense of security and then, boom, punish you for trying to advance towards him for big damage and big combos. However, he seems like his weakness is when people are on top of him, like in his face. He doesn't have much to get people off of him. His reversal is a move where he kind of sets up a counter move, so he'll absorb your hit and get away and put these bombs on you. Problem is, the bombs don't hit. You have to be attacking for the bombs to hit you. So if you know the bombs are on you, you can literally stop attacking and it won't explode. So the good news is it gets the pressure off of JP. The bad news is you didn't deal any damage to the enemy, And now it's up to you to try to get them back to mid to long range and get back to your zoning game. So it seems to me like it's kind of a mix. Like, he's good if he keeps you mid to long range, but if people are getting up on you, he's going to have a hard time trying to get them away. So we'll see, you know, in the long run how he plays. I do like the character, though. E Honda. At first, when I was playing E Honda yesterday, I really liked him. It seemed like they changed him a bit and added a bunch of new abilities, like the ability to combo his 100 hands, because now his 100 hands are a motion, not a button tap, and the ability to buff those 100 hands and make them combo. You know, amongst a few other new moves, he has a new sumo rush where he walks forward and does a bunch of like palm slaps similar to what a sumo wrestler would do in real life. Pretty neat, right? And it seems like the whole idea with Honda is to kind of try to lock you down into a block stun string where he keeps making you block, but it depletes your drive meter all the way down. Once you have no drive meter, now he's free to kind of abuse you with things like drive impact, you see? But what we found out is that sadly Honda does not have a true reversal except a level 1 super. His reversal that you would use would be the overdrive sumo headbutt. Problem is it could be thrown. So when I was playing with Honda, everyone would rush me down and then just keep throwing me in my face, and I really had no answer for it if I didn't have a level 1 super. If I had a level 1 super, maybe I would hit them once. Then after that, they would try to mix it up and not throw me anymore, in which case now they're baiting my super, and now I really have no answer. So again, similar to JP, it seems like if someone's in your face, one of these quicker characters with a lot of combo ability, it seems like it's hard to get them off of you. You know, in previous games, he had true reversals with true, you know, invincibility on Wake Up. He doesn't really have that in this one. And that could be a huge detriment, I feel, if someone's in your face. Now, if you can, you know, get them mid to long range and you keep them out and you're doing your thing with your hit strings and everything, then you're good. But again, yeah, definitely tough, much like JP when they're up close, okay? The fourth and final character I've used so far is Lily. Now, man, was I fooled by Lily, because Lily supposedly is a character who was trained by Thunderhawk. At first, I thought she was his daughter. I guess maybe she's not. Maybe she's a relative or she's from the same tribe as Thunderhawk, you know, T-Hawk from Street Fighter 2. And her move properties, all right, look like T-Hawk's, but they definitely are not. They are very different from T-Hawk's, okay? Essentially, everything about her is different. The real thing you need to do with this character, you constantly have to have this wind buff on her, which you can do two ways. You can just do one move to get it, or you can do a combo where you do like a hit into a special move, and the special move, after being 2-in-1, gives her the buff automatically. The reason you need this buff is because when she has it, all her move properties are improved. She has this horizontal moving thing called Condor Rush that basically hits multiple times and is frame safe. So if she does it, she can land next to the opponent, and now she has options. She could do a combo, she could throw, she could do a reversal like a Wake Up Rising Condor, which is her, you know, reversal move. She could do all those right next to her, okay? Which is interesting that she has those options. The thing is, if you don't have the wind charge, she's almost worthless. I mean it. Like, her move properties are terrible without the wind charge. So it's kind of like a do or die situation. You better get the wind charge and always have a wind charge. If you don't, most of her moves can easily get stuffed, and she's very slow without the wind charge. What I found is that when I was most effective with her, I was doing setups where I would basically get the 360 throw that she has, which is, you know, it's kind of the same thing as what T-Hawk used to have. Her 360 throw can be incredibly damaging, especially if you're doing a setup and counter hitting them like they're moving and you stuff their move with the throw. And some of her supers are quite good. I would say her level 2 super, which is a super that goes straight up, hits multiple times, kind of reminds me of the Shin Shoryuken, or Shinryuken, that Ken used to have in the Street Fighter Alpha series. Kind of like a vacuum hit that just goes straight up and has invincibility. But overall, it took me over an hour and a half to really even get into a groove with this character, because I went into it thinking, oh, she's T-Hawk, and she's nothing whatsoever like T-Hawk. Everything about her is different. Her move properties have been changed, and again, without a wind charge, she's pathetically bad. Like, really, she is very bad. But then I started getting wins. It was funny because overall, I did lose more than I won with Lily last night, but my last 7 matches I won, I was in a 7-win streak, and then I ran out of time. So I feel like if I kept playing, I probably would have kept getting more wins with her, because I was finally getting her, understanding that build, and doing better. But overall, in the scheme of things, I don't think, at least this is a day 2 perspective, I don't think that Lily is going to be any kind of high-level competitive in Street Fighter 6. I'm just being honest. I feel like Lily will not be high-level competitive at all, maybe mid-tier, because it doesn't seem like she has the tools, while other characters can easily implement their game from the get-go of a match. She relies on getting this win charge, and even then, it's more like setups and mix-ups and fooling the opponent, as opposed to, say, oh, a rush-down pattern, you see? If anything, for what I'm seeing, and maybe, again, this is just early on opinion, it seems like the characters that are doing the best are the characters that have the rush-down style. So from mid to close range, you have hit strings that can easily be dash canceled into another hit string. They mix up into overheads or throws, and if they get literally one hit, right, can immediately from mid-screen do something like 50% damage. And I've seen this with several characters, including Chun-Li, Ken, Cammy, and others. These characters that have good poking normals, if they literally get one normal, oh, dash cancel, and then immediately hit string, regular move, super move, and they're in giant damage. And then a lot of the times these characters, because again they're fast, can keep you trying to lock down in the corner. Like I said, characters such as E Honda, who have a lot of problem trying to get them off, because if he tries to do a reversal, they usually will stuff it with a throw, or they bait him trying to do something to get out, and then they punish the bait. So right now, it's kind of a problem. I would say characters who can just kind of mash jab a lot can stuff a lot of your moves, and that literally, as much as mashing jab, can lead to a giant combo, and that's not good. From a competitive fighter standpoint, you want people to have a chance to hang, and not the meta of the game just become rush down. But it seems like right now, yes, it seems like the meta of the game is becoming rush down. So anyone who has that kind of mid-screen neutral, oh, hit you once, get a big combo, dash cancel, continue the combo, and then mix up in the corner, that's what's dominating the game, all right? In fact, it's so weird. There's so few characters I've barely seen. I haven't seen a single Dalsim. In 2 days of playing ranked matches, I haven't seen a single Dalsim. I've seen maybe 1 to 2 Blancas, okay? Only seen a couple Guiles, and that's a little weird because everyone said that Guile was the best character in the beta, so it was a little weird there. You know, but I've seen a ton. Who am I seeing a ton of? Ken, Chun-Li, Juri, you know, those characters where essentially you can mash buttons and they get a giant combo. The other character I've seen a lot of is either Renault, however you say her name, and Marissa. It looks like those characters, because they're new characters, people are very popular with them. They want to keep playing the new characters, and they have interesting setups. Like Renault can do a hit string into a feint and then whoop, command throw for giant damage, and the command throws are very powerful with her. Or Marissa, literally, Marissa can hit you with one counter hit. One. And it leads to a ginormous combo that can take off like 50+% of your health. A lot of people are saying it feels like Marissa's hits are not scaled properly. Like she should be doing less damage, but she's doing way more damage than she should be. At the same time, I'm thinking maybe the reason they did that is because she is slower and a more lumbering, slow character. So they really want it to be that when you get that one hit that matters, that it matters. You know what I mean? I don't know because I haven't used Marissa, so I don't really know that much about her playstyle. I've fought against her a bunch, but I don't recognize the moves because, you know, I haven't used her, so I don't know what the properties are. You see? So, overall, 2 days into Street Fighter 6, still having a great time with it. Enjoying the game for sure. Having a good time. I hope that you guys are enjoying it as well. I'm really having a good time with it. Looking forward to more starting tonight on the late stream. We'll try a 5th character. Just like we did the other days, we'll try a 5th character. You know, we'll continue on with that. And go from there. And then, tomorrow, it's going to be a little different. Let's go through the schedule now. Tomorrow, daytime stream again will be Street Fighter 6. So yes, again, I'll be picking another new character tomorrow and using them in Street Fighter 6. Tomorrow night on the late stream, it's the premiere of Diablo 4. Alright? So that's going to be some variety finally. Rather than it just being Street Fighter, starting Monday night, it is variety. And yes, I would say Diablo 4 is going to be a way more chill stream. If you've ever seen Diablo, it's kind of a top-down RPG style game. You pick a class, you use that class to go through dungeons, kill a bunch of repetitive enemies, level up the class, get loot, get abilities, wash, rinse, repeat. The story is there, but I don't necessarily think the story is the focus for many people when it comes to Diablo. It's more about the gameplay loop. So being that this is going to be an action-based RPG with a lot of gameplay and repetition, I really feel that it's going to be a game that people will want to chill and relax and interact with me when I play. Think about when I played Hades or other games like that. I think it's going to be like that vibe, you see? And I think that'll work. I think that'll break it up. So instead of me just being hyper-focused on Street Fighter 6 and not really being able to interact and play with you guys, or talk with you guys that much is what I should have said. I think that Diablo will be the opposite. I actually feel like Diablo will be, hey, I'm playing an RPG, but we get to relax, we get to talk while I'm doing the combat. And you guys will probably give me advice on how to play it. I haven't played Diablo since Diablo 3 came out over 10 years ago, so I'm sure everyone will have something to say about Diablo 4 and how to play it and recommendations for builds and everything, right? So it'll be good, I think. I think it'll be a good time, all right? So I hope that you guys will join me tomorrow night for the premiere of Diablo 4. And then Tuesday, same thing. It'll be Street Fighter 6 on the daytime stream and Diablo 4 on the late stream, okay? Now, a couple other things to say about the schedule this week. At this point, I'm not sure if I'm even going to do the single-player World Tour mode in Street Fighter 6 as of yet. Why? Because if you haven't noticed, every stream that I do with Street Fighter 6, I play one character. Well, the game has 18 characters, and I've only used 4. Today will be 5. Tomorrow will be 6. I kind of feel like what I'm doing is the right way to approach it. Trying a character, learning their basics offline, then going online and playing for a couple hours with them. That's really what the meat of the game is. The World Tour mode is nice, but it's really superfluous. What I mean by that is it's an extra mode that's not necessarily meant to be the main focus of the game in any way, shape, or form. So therefore, why make it the focus? You see what I'm saying? Why start that now? I think that what everyone wants to see is me play this game, learn characters, play it online. You know what I'm saying? The World Tour mode plays like Yakuza. And I think I will get to it. I absolutely want to play it. It's a nice mode to have, but I think everyone's enjoying what I'm doing right now and want me to continue doing it. That's the feedback I'm getting. In fact, as I've been playing online, some people have been coming and saying, did you play World Tour mode yet? Because some other streamers have tried it, and everyone is saying it's not that good. It's kind of like watching paint dry. Everyone's excited for the competitive nature of the game, right? And we're kind of happy that Phil is doing the online play rather than the World Tour mode, all right? Now, here's the thing. I'm okay with trying World Tour mode at some point if people want it, but it seems like the majority of people are saying don't do it yet, right? Just focus on what you're doing. So, hey, unless I get feedback otherwise, I think I'll keep doing what I'm doing. But I promise you I will do World Tour mode at some point. It's just a matter of when, and when makes better sense, right? You know, when you go through World Tour mode and you max out a character there, you get a new outfit. So, it behooves me to eventually do that to try to unlock outfits as well. So, there you go, and that's why, because some people have been asking me, well, where's World Tour mode? He said he was going to do it. That's why I haven't done it yet, because I'm busy, you know, doing the basic, you know, the expected gameplay of what you would do in a competitive fighter right now, all right? So there you go. Now, outside of that, Zelda. What happened to Zelda Tears of the Kingdom? Well, it's on hiatus because we're doing Street Fighter, and now we're doing Diablo. Will it come back? Yes. In fact, what I'm planning on doing is next week, kind of alternating. So it'll be Street Fighter 6 during the day streams, and then the night streams will alternate between maybe Diablo and Zelda. So that way we have variety on the late streams, rather than it just being all the same thing. I think that would make sense. And I'll take your feedback. I'll take your, you know, what you want more will help to dictate what I do on stream. So please understand that feedback is key. Let me know exactly what it is that you would like, and we'll go from there. Okay. Now, I have something else important to talk about in regards to React content, okay? So let's do it. Let's talk about React content, shall we? Hold on a second here. Okay, so in regards to React content, I do my weekly show, DSP versus the Internet, once a week. Usually it's on Saturday. This week I pushed it to Sunday, but next week it's going to go back to being on Saturday again, okay? Now, here's the deal. In regards to that, next week's going to be a little different, okay? And how is it going to be different? Well, next week for the React show, I'm going to select the videos differently, okay? It's going to be the same deal where if you're a channel member on DSP React, you will get to nominate videos for me to watch on the show. That's not going to change. Members nominate all the videos that I watch during the clip show, okay? But the way I've done it up to now is thus. Ultra level members on DSP Reacts get their videos watched for sure. We watch those first. Those are the first videos I watch on the show, correct? Then, after that, we get to the standard member submissions, correct? And the standard member submissions are first come, first serve, meaning the earlier you post it up on the community thread for this, the increased chance that we're going to watch that video right away on the show. If you're someone who waited literally all week to post up, and maybe you waited a whole day or two, you're not going to get watched on the show. You're going to be the last video in line. You understand? Now, some people have been upset with that. They're like, listen, I want to be a member. I want to get a chance to get my video on the show, but I can't just sit around and wait for you to post up the community thread. I have a life. When I see the thread is up and I get a chance, I'll go post. But what happens is every week you do it, and then I go to do it, and already 50 people posted, and now I never get my video watched. So because of that, admittedly, some people have been upset. They're like, you know, why am I going to continue to be a member on the channel when literally every single week, right, I try to post up a video and I never get my video watched? It's not fair. I feel like I'm wasting my money. So I'm not gonna continue with my membership. Okay. So I've heard a few people say that over the last month, and I have noticed a dip in memberships on DSP Reacts, and I'm sorry for that. What that means is that I need to listen to your feedback and I need to try something different. Okay. So today we're gonna try something different. All right. Here's what we're gonna do today. Today, the first thing we're gonna do is I'm going to watch the Ultra member submissions. Okay, those are the first things in the playlist. Now, I already, well, today, actually, let me take this back. Today, we're doing it normally, all right? We're going to do Ultra member submissions first, and then we're going to watch members, first come, first serve order. Today's session will not be affected. It'll be the same as usual, all right? But now, starting this week into next week, I am going to change it up. I'm going to use a shuffle technique, I guess is the best way you can call it. All right. What does that mean? What is a shuffle technique? Okay. A shuffle technique is basically members will submit their videos. I'll put them into a playlist. Okay. But then when I'm going to actually watch that playlist on stream, I'm going to use my app to hit shuffle. It's just going to randomly shuffle all those videos around and play them in a random order. So rather than it be first come, first serve, it's everyone has an equal chance to get their video watched. All right. And it won't matter, you know, when you submit it. You can literally submit at the end of the week, and you have just as much of a chance to get your video watched as someone who submitted 5 minutes after I posted up the community post earlier in the week. You see? I think this is better. I do think that this would be a fairer way for people to get their video watched rather than everyone rushing first come, first serve to post up their stuff. I think the first come, first serve thing worked for a bit, but now this channel, DSP Reacts, has actually existed for about 4 months now. And after 4 months, I think it's time to refine things and make them better. And this is based off of the feedback you guys have been giving me. In addition, that's right, Cheetah Man says it gives an element of surprise. It kind of does, because you never know what video is going to get on there. What's happened is, in previous weeks, basically kind of the same style of videos sometimes makes it in there. Why? Because the same people keep rushing to be the first people to post up their videos. So if they're the first person to post up, you're going to see the same style of video every week. Well, instead of that, if you randomize, now it could be completely shuffled around. You may still see similar videos, but they won't necessarily be in the same order, right? And that's a good thing. Variety is always a good thing. So that's what we're going to do starting next week. So FYI, if you were someone who was a member on DSP React, but you felt like you weren't really getting your videos watched, and because of that you were upset, next week everything changes. Okay, we use this randomized system. So maybe you want to become a member again. You know, incentive to come back, say, oh, I have the same chance as literally everybody else to get my video watched. Well, then I should become a member again, right? But remember something. If you want to be guaranteed to have your video watched, become an Ultra member. Is it more expensive? Of course it is. But at the same time, 4 times a month, you're going to get your video watched on the show, all right? So this is a difference. This is a big change. I'm going to fully explain it when we start the show over on DSP Reacts, you know, when after this podcast ends, you know. So hopefully people will understand we're doing it differently for next week. I'm going to probably talk about it every single part, all 6 parts, so that everyone knows what's going on, okay? And hopefully this would convince some people to come back. It's disappointing to me when I feel like I'm not providing enough quality for you, that some people had the membership and felt, I wasn't getting anything out of it, and then they canceled. That sucks. Obviously, when I get your support, I want to keep it, right? I want to feel like I'm earning it. And I guess a lot of people felt like I wasn't earning it. And that sucks. So, starting next week, hopefully we earn it again with that equal chance to get your video watched on DSP Reacts. Fair enough? Okay. By the way, I did release a review. I don't know how many of you watched it. I reviewed the Street Fighter 2 animated movie on DSP Reacts a couple nights ago. I felt it was pertinent for the release of Street Fighter 6. I hope you'll give the video a look. It's a 29-year-old movie, but it's a great movie. So I hope that you would maybe consider watching it if you like the review of it, okay? All right. Now, there's one other important thing to talk about today, this coming week, there is a bunch of big digital events. So as soon as I come back from my break, all right, on June 8th, it's Summer Game Fest. Did you guys know this? That Summer Game Fest was literally right around the corner. Now let me take a look at the actual time of it. Here it is. It is Thursday. Okay, 12 p.m. Pacific time. All right. So essentially what I will do is I will do an abridged stream of the Level 1 podcast before this starts. All right, an abridged version. It's not going to be a lengthy Level 1 podcast. In fact, likely what it'll be is I'll start around the usual time, but then it'll just be like a 45-minute show. We'll end early, and then we're all going to move over to DSP React, and on the React channel is where I'm going to do the live React to Summer Games Fest, okay? Now, we don't know how long Summer Games Fest is. What we know is that there's going to be 40 different companies, 40, that are going to be represented at Summer Games Fest, okay? Huge announcements, supposedly, from all these different companies. You know, giant companies, smaller companies. It's kind of a good mix. We're supposed to hear about Mortal Kombat for the first time and see actual gameplay. You know, updates on all kinds of different stuff. It's going to be big. It's going to be a very big, interesting, and informative event. So yes, absolutely, I'll be live covering Summer Games Fest this coming Thursday, June 8th, 12 p.m. Pacific time on DSP React. It'll be a live React. We'll be watching it together. I'm rebroadcasting it. I'm reacting live. And will I do anything after that? Typically, as you know, my first streams run till 4 p.m. Pacific time. Perhaps what I will do is, as we're watching the show, take notes, and then after the show ends, let's say the show is a 2-hour show and it ends around 2:30 p.m. I'll probably take a break and then come back and do like an hour where I just interact with you guys and we talk. I'll do a summary of what I liked, what I didn't like, you know, and we can have a live discussion about the whole thing. I don't necessarily think it's going to make sense to try to cram in gameplay on that stream, all right? Now, since that's the day stream that day, it might mean that that night I play Street Fighter 6 rather than Diablo, you see? Now, the next digital event that's happening, you find this one too, is the Xbox Games Showcase. Okay, this is going to be the 11th. So that is a Sunday, correct? That is the Sunday. It's a week from today, actually, right? Now, the annoying thing about this, they've decided to do it like fucking early. I think it's 10 a.m. Let me take a look at this. Where the hell is the date? Yeah, 10 a.m. Pacific time. It's just stupid. They're doing it so goddamn early, right? So anyway, since it's 10 a.m. Pacific time, as you know, usually my stream would start at 10:45 a.m. Well, that means I got to start early, and that means no podcast that day, all right? Essentially, what will happen is my stream will probably go live around 9:30 a.m. that day, and then I'll chill with you guys for a little bit, and then we'll just do the live react. Here's the thing. This Xbox Game Showcase is interesting because not only is it going to focus on games that are exclusively, you know, under the Xbox umbrella, but then supposedly it's going to have a giant expose on Starfield. So not only will there be a lot of independent games, you know, or not independent, but individual games to talk about that are under the Xbox studios, but then Starfield, the last time we saw it, looked very underwhelming and very disappointing, quite frankly, to me. I thought it kind of looked like a combination of Fallout and No Man's Sky, and I didn't think it looked very good at all. I thought that it was actually quite underwhelming, and this is supposed to be the giant new game, right, that's supposed to get you to be excited for games on Xbox. The new Bethesda IP that's been hyped for years and years. So this is kind of their make or break moment. It's their chance to present something that's going to be something people want to play and isn't just, oh, it looks like a knockoff of other games, right? I'm hoping it's good. I'm really, really hoping the game looks much better now than it did before. Because admittedly, I thought that it did not look good. But we're going to see. So what I'm going to do is basically what I just said for the Summer Games Fest is going to be the same thing that Sunday, where it's going to be on DSP Reacts. It's not going to be on DSP Gaming. I'm going to do the live stream there. We're going to live react to the entire event. All right. And then After the fact, likely we'll have like a decompression, recap, reactions session where I'll talk about everything we saw and what I liked and what I didn't like. Um, Now, here's the thing. If it really does start at 10 a.m., all right, and let's say it runs, I don't know, 2 hours. Let's say they do an hour where they talk about Xbox games and there's a whole, or maybe an hour and a half about Xbox games and 30 minutes on Starfield, right? So let's say it stops around 12 to 1 p.m. Then likely what I would do is, again, take a break, come back, and what I might do, I might actually do a formal level 1 podcast, but the entire podcast would be talking about the Xbox event, okay? I don't know. Or because I was thinking, if I do a podcast, what's it going to be about? But then again, maybe I should just skip the podcast for that day. It seems to me like these events are going to kind of throw a monkey wrench into my schedule. That my schedule for these days is not going to be normal. You know what I'm saying? I don't know how it could be. So that's what I'm thinking. Anyway, so Thursday, my stream will start the normal time, having a bridge level 1 podcast. Then we'll jump over to DSP Reacts to react live to Summer Games Fest. Okay, and then the late stream will probably be Street Fighter 6. Friday will probably be Street Fighter 6 during the day and maybe Diablo 4 at night. Saturday will be DSP versus the internet, and maybe we'll bring back Zelda for a late night stream on Saturday. Sunday will be a live react very early, 10 a.m. to the Xbox event, and then the Starfield event, and then I'll do a recap reactions, depending on how much time that takes. Maybe we'll have extra time, and I'll be able to actually play some Street Fighter. Maybe what I'll do is I'll do a session of Street Fighter 6 where I just pick the characters who I've already used, and I just kind of alternate between them for different matches. We could do that. That'd be variety, right? Then Sunday night, probably, maybe more Diablo. And then Monday, Tuesday, and next week will be back to normal, where maybe the daytime streams will be Street Fighter 6, and the night streams will either be Diablo or Zelda. Okay? So yes, this coming week is going to be very weird and very different because it's going to have this variety content of reacting. So the good news is there'll be more React content this week. The bad news is, yes, there's going to be reduced gameplay, but it kind of needs to happen because all these digital events are happening. Yes, I know you guys want me to react and want my opinions on them, and so I'm going to do what you want. I'm going to give you what you want, what you're asking for. Okay? Fair enough? Okay. That's the schedule for the week. Outside of that, there's other stuff going on. As you know, we'll be planning a long-form event in early July. We'll talk about that as we get closer to it. And thank you. This weekend so far has been very, very supportive. I really appreciate everyone who's been supporting all my content. I hope we can keep that pattern up because it's been really great. I hope that people remember. I guess I should bring it up now because now it's been half an hour. I have a new tips link. The link has been updated. All right. So please use the new tips link to send tips on the streams. I updated it in the command for the bot. I updated it in the description of this video. In the description of all the videos moving forward, it'll be different. I updated it on the YouTube channels. So basically, it's an updated link for everyone to tip. Please use the new one. Don't use the old one, but I know what's going to happen. Some people will forget or won't know because they're not going to watch this podcast. The thing is, I don't want to post it up publicly everywhere because people are going to be like, oh, Phil's asking for tips. Like, no, I just wanted to let you know there's a new link, but undoubtedly whenever I do something like that, people spin it to something negative. So I'm trying to spread the word on every stream I'm doing moving forward. There's a new tips link. Please use the new link. Okay? Okay. There's really no game news to talk about right now. Okay, but what I'd like to do is, do a couple. There's only one. Well, there's a couple shout outs to do. All right, I'll do a few shout outs, and then essentially we're just gonna do Q&A, and shout outs if anyone contributes, and then we're gonna get set up for the React show. Okay? Sound good? All right, but before we do that, if you can give me 1 second, I just need to step out for 1 second. I'll be right back, and then we'll continue on. Thanks. I'll be right back. Okay. I'm back. All right. Let's do some shout-outs. So first of all, there were a couple overnight tips, okay? Now, again, this is one of the reasons why I'm a little concerned is there have actually been actively people who've been tipping overnight while I've been playing Street Fighter 6, and now there's a new tips link. Hopefully they'll use the new tips link and not be confused like what's going on here, okay? But I have 2 overnight tips to shout out. We start off today with a $10 tip from an anonymous tipper who says, awesome coverage is always my friend. So this is someone who was actually talking about my coverage of Street Fighter 6 last night. They really enjoyed it. I'm glad that you enjoyed it. Thank you for the anonymous $10 tip. You know, last night I got my butt handed to me with Lily because her build is so very different than other characters and plays nothing like T-Hawk, so I'm expecting one thing, and she played completely differently. Like I said, by the end of the stream, I was on a freaking 7-win streak. And I was like, man, I hope I can keep this up. And then I ran out of time. I was like, oh, man, I would have been able to probably get my wins back up because I lost more than I won with Lily. I did. I lost more than I won because the whole first, 10, 15 matches, I just lose. And then I finally kind of got into a rhythm. And I started doing much better, but it took so long to get into that rhythm that I had already gotten so many, losses that I couldn't really come back from it. But it is what it is. That's what I mean. Like, maybe this coming week I could do a stream where I do a variety of characters who I've already played with in Street Fighter 6, so that way I can maybe have a second attempt at Lily. We'll see. Okay. I also received a $30 tip from Game Trekker. All right? Now, in this case, it is a formal $30 tip. Why? Because this is not a tip related to Street Fighter. So he wanted to do the full $30 tip animation. There you go, Game Trekker. Let's get you on the leaderboard. Thank you very much for that. Okay. Good. So, what does Game Trekker have to say today? He says, with all the fighting game content... Excuse me. A little bit of frog in my throat. With all the fighting game content on your React show last week, it would be reasonable for a viewer to assume that I submitted one of those videos, but no. My submission last week was that one called They're Made Out of Meat. I gotta say, I'm pleased that you watched the whole thing. It's a favorite of mine. The acting is flawless, and the writing is this perfect combination of absurd and poignant. FYI, that video was a recent higher quality upload. The original version is much older and now has over 1 million views. My submission this week is more fighting game content, another moment from your ancient archives. Cool. That's good to hear. All right, excellent. Thank you very much to Game Trekker. I do like variety on my React show, and definitely that was variety, right? Like, that was something not expected, and something very different. So thank you for that submission. Thank you for the tip. Game Trekker always supporting the React content I do every week, and thank you so much for that, Game Trekker. Okay. On the YouTube side of things, we have one super chat so far this morning. It is from HN. They said, what are your thoughts on Hitbox boards? Do you use one? So many of you probably have no idea what that means. I've done a little bit of research on this recently, so allow me to explain, okay? When you're playing a fighting game, you have choices. You can use a standard game controller for your console or for PC. That's one thing you can do, okay? You can use a competitive fighting game joystick, which is a little different. When you're using a controller, you're either going to be using the D-pad and the buttons, or you're going to be using a thumbstick and the buttons. When you're using a competitive controller, you're going to be using a joystick and the buttons. But there is a third control type, for those who don't know. It is called a hitbox, and this has become way more prominent in the last 3 to 4 years in the competitive fighting game circles. So what is a hitbox? Okay, so imagine this, but instead of a joystick and buttons, you have 2 sets of buttons. Huh? What do you mean by that, Phil? Well, imagine that you could do all the inputs of a joystick with 4 buttons. That's essentially what a hitbox is, okay? So you have your 6 attack buttons, but you'll also have like 4 buttons here that you can then use your hand to press and move your character around. Well, how does that work? Well, one button is up, one button is down, one button is left, and one button is right. Okay? So you might say, well, why would you want to do that? Why wouldn't you want to use a joystick? Okay? Well, what's been found is that pushing a button typically is a faster reaction and will result in a faster input and a thing happening more quickly in your game than moving a joystick. That actually having the joystick move takes a little bit longer. So just by default, it seems like you'll get faster reactions if you're using this style of controller. But the other thing that a lot of people have really benefited from using a Hitbox style controller is something that used to be done with joysticks to some extent, but with a Hitbox is even easier. It's basically doing charge moves in a different way. What do I mean by that? What's a charge move? Well, in Street Fighter and other fighting games, there are moves where you'll have to hold one direction. So let's say you're holding backwards for a couple of seconds, maybe 1 or 2 seconds. Then you press forward and a button together, and you'll get a move. So special move like Sonic Boom. That's Sonic Boom. Charge backwards for 2 seconds, forward plus punch, you get a Sonic Boom. Okay? But if you think about it, how do you do that? Use your thumb or your joystick, and you hold one direction, then push the other. So you can either only be holding back or forward. With hitboxes, you can hold multiple directions together at once. So for example, you can be holding down a back and forward all at the same time if you hold down 3 buttons. Okay? How would you do that with a joystick? How with this joystick are you going to hold back, down, and forward together? You can't. You can only have the joystick touch one direction at a time. But with the hitbox, you can now hold down multiple directions at once. So what people have found is that essentially for charged characters, hitbox controllers can be incredibly effective and even give what some would deem an unfair advantage. Because was it intended that you should at all times be holding every direction? No, it wasn't. That was never intended in Street Fighter. It was always assumed when Street Fighter was designed that you were using a joystick style controller and you could only hold one direction at a time. But if you're holding more than one direction, think of it this way. What if you're always holding back and down, right? So you do a Sonic Boom, which is back and forward, but you're still holding down. Someone jumps over your Sonic Boom, you instantly do Flash Kick because you're also charging down at the same time. If you're on a joystick and you go back to forward, you can't be charging down at the same time, but you can be on the hitbox. You see? So essentially, this new hitbox style of using all buttons rather than a joystick has given a huge advantage to people using it. So what ended up happening was there's been new rules that have been kind of like drawn up and used in competitive fighting game circles to say you can only use hitboxes to some extent. And certain games actually have started to institute changes, basically saying, you know, I guess there's rule sets and how much you can or can't use or how it works. Personally, I've never owned a hitbox, nor have I played on one. Would I like it? I don't know. Maybe I would. Maybe it's easier and nicer to hold the buttons and tap them rather than move a joystick. I can tell you this. I've played with Balrog. And Balrog in Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo is a character where you have to charge buttons down and then release the buttons to get a special move. So I've done gameplay style like that before. So maybe it wouldn't be that big of a deal for me to adapt to a hitbox controller. At the same time, I don't know if I would like it. I've never tried it. It would definitely feel like a learning curve where you have to kind of adapt to doing it differently. I've literally always had a joystick in my left hand, or in recent times, yes, in some fighting games like Mortal Kombat, I've used the gamepad. In fact, in the 1990s, there were no good home joysticks at all. So when I played games like Street Fighter 2, right here, when I played Street Fighter 2 on my SNES, there was a joystick. I bought it. It was terrible. The joystick was trash, and it controlled horribly. So I ended up just using my standard SNES pad to play this. And back in the day, the SNES pad was pretty sufficient. You could get your special moves, you could get everything, but obviously, you know, you want something better than that for tournament play. And so I've had experience on gamepads before. I prefer to play on a joystick because I grew up in arcades playing these games competitively in arcades. All the way through the first half of the 2000s, these games were played on arcade machines. So that's what I've been used to, and that's why I prefer an arcade-style joystick. But I get the feeling more and more people are going to change. People are going to want to play on pad, and people are going to want to maybe start using a Hitbox style controller for a little bit of a different control feel, right? So there you have it. That's it. Now, so what's my overall opinion on hitboxes? I'm not against them, but at the same time, I don't think that someone should have an unfair advantage just because they're using a controller style. You know what I mean? So I guess ultimately it would be dependent on, you know, a tournament itself. If a tournament just says, hey, anything goes, use any controller. Obviously, you're going to have cheaters. You're going to have people who are like mapping things to each button. You know what I mean? Then you can say, well, not everything goes. You can only use certain kinds of controllers within certain confines, certain rule sets. That's kind of where we're at right now. You can use your own controller, but they're limiting the use of things like hitbox controllers and stuff, so you're not getting an unfair advantage, right? So there you go. And, so there you go. And, yeah, we'll see what happens, moving forward. But I think that, hitbox controllers are interesting. I think people are going to have different takes on hitbox controllers over time, for sure. And we'll have to see. Because I really feel like with this, what we're doing right now with Street Fighter 6, right? This is legitimately the first time where we're actually seeing hitbox controllers come to prominence. You understand? So because of that, we don't know what's going to happen. We may have people who are playing competitively pulling off stuff that we never even intended should be in these games. Okay? So I guess we're going to have to see. We're going to have to see what happens moving forward. All right. It looks like a couple tips have come in, and I'd like to shout these out, but hold on a second, because what I think I want to do, if you give me a second here. Hold on. I, of course, forgot. I, of course, forgot to set up one thing when it comes to this new tips link. I want to see if I can set this up. Let's see. See, I don't want that. Yeah, see, I don't want this one. Let's do this. Hold on. Sorry that I didn't have this all set up. I thought I did, and I realized I screwed it up. I didn't have it all set up. Okay, here we go. Sorry about that. So, I'm just trying to fully set everything up. Okay. I don't like how this looks. I don't like how this looks at all. Hold on. I do this? That doesn't really... Can I do this? Yes. Here we go. Okay, that's better. That actually looks much better. If I do this, does that screw it up? Yeah, if I do it like that, that's better. Okay. Okay. Shoutouts. I received an anonymous dollar tip. Someone says, I hope it's not true. Apparently there's a big rumor going around Nintendo will not be doing any kind of a Nintendo Direct in June. They've stayed completely quiet on the subject. You may be right. I'm not sure, actually. Well, you're right. I don't think we've had any official word at all from Nintendo in regards to a big event. And that's weird, for sure, because typically Nintendo does have big events. Pretty much every, June, along with every other major company, correct? And so, yeah, it is a little weird that we're not hearing a peep out of them, right? It is kind of weird. I don't know if there's a reason for that. Maybe they just don't have anything to talk about. You would hope they have something to talk about, right? You would hope that there's something of interest that they would want to convey to the gamer audience. But it's weird because if there were E3, typically this would be when Nintendo would put out an event. But I guess there's no E3, so maybe, I don't know. I would like Nintendo to come out and say, hey, there's a bunch of new games and things to announce. If they have nothing to announce, maybe they just got nothing going for this year. I don't know what else to say. Zelda was their big one, right? I know we have Pikmin 4 over the summer coming out, right? So there you go. I received another $1 tip. And it's basically a troll. Didn't you once call React content the lowest form of content? What I said was that typical React content, which I deemed was basically watching someone else's content, whether it was a live broadcast of a game show, whether it was someone else's video or whatever, literally just watching it back and making funny faces and every once in a while kind of chiming in. I did feel like that was a low form of content. Absolutely I did. All right? Now, you guys over the years broke me down and said, Phil, we want you to do React content. Understand, this is something that everyone does. This is something that we feel has added value for you and your business. And we want you to have this content. Do you understand? We like it. And I said, well, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it different than everyone else. I'm not just going to press play on someone's video. I'm not just going to press play on a trailer and go, and make silly faces and scream. Oh my God, it's a Dragon Ball trailer. Oh! And all it is showing Goku just posing like this going, ha. It's like, and you're screaming, oh! Because you're overacting to basically get in a reaction, right? I don't do that crap. And you guys know that. When you watch my React content, it's very different. I want to make sure that whatever content I'm putting out has some kind of meaning behind it. And when I've been watching documentaries, and the fact that I'm adding so much supplemental information when I'm watching these documentaries, I'm giving you my take, I'm giving you stuff from my perspective, my experience as a YouTuber when we're watching a YouTuber, documentary and stuff like that. When we're watching these game events, I'm doing my best again to try to add my perspective or whatever. It's not just me making silly faces. And what's funny is I'll watch a documentary that's 90 minutes long and it takes us 4 hours to get through. And people are like, I don't understand. When someone else did a live react, it took them 2 hours to get through. Why does it take you 4 hours? Because I actually add content. It's not just me essentially rebroadcasting someone else's content and making a buck on it. It's me actually adding so much content that it would be considered a full transformative work, and it makes it different content. Do you understand? That's what I want to do. When we're doing DSP versus the internet every week, I want to make sure that I'm putting out content that is different enough that it feels unique, and it's not just me watching someone else's stuff. All right? Now, that's different than the React content that I was criticizing. The React content that I criticized in the past was literally people overacting or just making silly faces and dumb one-liner comments during a React thing they were doing. It is true that on a day when someone doesn't want to really put out meaningful or thoughtful content, they'll do a React. They'll just, I'm doing a React stream today, guys. What do you want me to react to today? And then they'll just take a bunch of suggestions, click on it. All right, let's just watch it. And we watch it and just talk over. Okay, great. Oh, by the way, thanks for all these donations and things you just sent me, right? For what? You talked over someone's video? That's stupid. But for me, I'm trying to do it very differently. As you see, with DSP Reacts, it is a very different style of channel. It's not just me doing that. There's other content on that channel with tier maker rankings. We got video reviews of stuff. And, the weekly show. And then also live reacting to other events as well. So all of that, I'm trying to do totally differently. And some people, outright, have said it's so different, they don't like it. Fair enough. If you don't like my style of react, then you don't have to watch it. But understand, that's why I do things differently. I want to feel like I'm giving you something worth your time, and it's not just biting off of someone else's work. It's something that's transformative enough that feels like it's a show based on me actually putting in effort. You understand? I'm not just going to sit here and make money off the backs of others. I don't want that, okay? So, I do still feel that there are content creators out there that make bottom-of-the-barrel content when it comes to this. What they do, sadly, is they put in the minimum effort and they basically just talk over other people's stuff. And that's not what I'm about at all. All right? I want to have meaningful content, and I want to, excuse me, put out stuff that people enjoy that's not just fluff. So I hope you understand that's why it's a little different. A lot of people complain, you pause too much, you add too much. Well, that's me. That's my style of reacting. If you don't like it, hey, I can only be me and do stuff my way. You know what I'm saying? So I hope you guys understand that. Okay, continuing on. I received a $1.25 tip from Pocket Nipples. How is 10 a.m. super early for a game showcase? Well, it's early for me. I'm not saying it's super early for the world. I'm saying it's early for me. You understand that my normal streams start at 10:45 a.m. We do a podcast for like an hour, hour and a half. Then we do gameplay for, 3 more hours after that. So, yeah, having to start my broadcast earlier than 10 a.m. is very early for me. I'll have to change my whole schedule. I'll have to change my sleep schedule and everything for that day. But I'm willing to do it because I know the Xbox event is a big one that everyone's interested in. I'm interested in it. It's going to be notable. It's going to be basically the history, or excuse me, a preview of what we're going to get to see from Microsoft. We all want to see what Microsoft has to offer, right? So that's why I'm willing to do it. But I'm not saying that 10 a.m. is super early. You're ridiculous. I mean, I used to have office jobs where I had to get up at 5 a.m. And then I had to get up, get ready for work, get breakfast, drive to work on the highway for an hour every day to get there, just to be there for like 9:30 a.m. and work my 8-hour shift and then come home. I've been through that grind. No, 10 a.m. is not early. It's early for me because my schedule is different. It's a silly thing to say. Okay, shout out to Cyber Skelly, who became a channel member. Thank you very much to Cyber Skelly for the membership. I appreciate that very much. Okay, I think that covers everything. I think so. Cool. So, we have a little bit of extra time. If anyone wants to throw questions at me, I'll do a little bit of Q&A before we get set up for the React show for the week. Like I said, this is a shorter podcast today because I did start late. Derek says, what about using a random number generator for DSP versus the internet? I mean, in order to do that, Derek, I would have to have a way to number each post, which YouTube does not do with its comment system, so that's not going to work. JDTV says, hey, I'm not able to be here as much as I could. I'm getting addicted to Diablo 4. It's an amazing game. Play as a rogue or sorcerer. There you go. I'm glad to hear you're enjoying the game, JD. Come by when you can. You can always watch on demand. Thanks for stopping by today. Okay. Flabo Papo. So I don't mean to cross a line, but everyone is now worried that there are issues you're dealing with off stream that are health related. Without going into details, can you put our minds at ease? Yeah, I'm not dying. It's that simple. Have there been health problems involving me and my family? Yes, there have been health problems on and off. And there's been situations where it's affected my work because of it. Okay? No one is dying. You don't have to worry about that. Okay? So there you go. No worries. That's the best I can tell you. No one is sick and dying on their deathbed or anything like that. All right? But, yeah, it's annoying when real life stuff crawls into the business related stuff. I hate that. I told you, the last 5-6 years, my ultimate goal has been to separate personal and professional. I want to have a personal life over here and a professional life over here, and they're purposefully separated, and they don't bleed into each other. And it's not always possible. It's just not. It's not always possible that can happen, all right? And I get that, and it sucks. You get a day, I'm late. A day, I can't stream today. There's stuff going on personal in my life. It sucks, all right? But that's life. As you get older especially, more stuff like this happens. What it is when you're young, and everything's great, you kind of take it for granted. And then as you get older and things start to creep up and things happen, you're like, oh shit, I had it good when I was younger and I didn't even realize it. I had freedom to do whatever I wanted with my time. There was no extenuating circumstances that would come up and force me to not be able to do what I had planned and stuff like that. And now, I'm getting older and now that shit happens. It's like, you learn to deal with it. You roll with the punches, you know what I'm saying? But no, I don't want anyone to freak out and think that there's something horrendously impending, awful happening behind the scenes like that. Not to that extent, Don't worry in that regard, At least what I should say is, see, and now I say that, And this is why that was really stupid, because when I say shit like that, then it always blows up in my face. So let me just put it this way. As of right now, okay, nothing like that. That doesn't mean that something couldn't change. Because then what happens if something happens, I end up, someone's in the hospital, and you're like, well, you just said that nothing was bad. Well, yeah, as of now, to my knowledge. Like I said, knock on wood, right? Not that I'm superstitious, but that's what I mean. Like, it always seems to be like when it rains, it pours, right? So it starts with a little leak, and the next thing you know, you have a river coming through your house. Like, Jesus. So let's hope that things stay, the way they are, and it's not so bad, right? I mean, really, I know it sucks, but the older I get and more, I'm like, Jesus, I just know it's coming, right? I just know it's coming because I said one thing, so now it's got to come back to bite me in the ass because I said that, right? No, this desk actually is real wood. This is a real wood desk here. Because someone said it's not wood, it's plastic. That's actually false, right? Okay. Happy Sunday to you, Derek. He's having a fun... I'm ready for a fun React stream today. Good to hear. Gear 5 Luffy says, I enjoyed the lesson on arcade system hitboxes. I'm glad. Again, I'm just giving you a very general overview. I don't know the ins and outs of the technicalities of it because I've never used a hitbox controller before, so there's no way I could give you the ins and outs of it. You know what I mean? Do I know who I'm playing tonight on the late stream for Street Fighter 6? I got an idea. I got an idea of who I want to use. I think it's an interesting for variety purposes yet again. Let's put it that way. All right. So I think I know who I want to use tonight. I think I have a good idea, but I'm not gonna spoil. Brownie Times is their birthday. Well, happy birthday to you. How much of these submissions for my React show do I watch beforehand? 0. What I do is people leave a link or a text description of what the video is, and literally all I do is I open it in a browser. All right. It'll load that video and show the title. And typically, if there's a warning or whatever that says, oh, this is adults only or whatever, it's been flagged for something, it'll tell me right away, and then I know if I can include it or not. And then I add it to the playlist. Most of the videos, I never even click play on, okay? So I don't see them. Every once in a while, if there's one that I look at like, oh, what is this? This looks kind of questionable. I want to be sure that it's in line with the kind of content that I'm putting out. I want to make sure it's not something, ridiculously adult-oriented or overly violent, or you know what I'm saying? Like, you have to be careful on YouTube. So I'll sometimes have to screen something, but usually I don't. Usually when I'm watching stuff on the React show, it's the first genuine time I've seen it. It's just the title of the video that I've seen previously. So. Ooh, a Vietnamese banh mi sandwich, Derek. What kind of protein are you having? Because I had a banh mi and I had tuna, but it was very weird. And I felt like I should have got a different meat on it. I didn't think that the tuna was representative of what the banh mi should have been. Lost Boys, I know you're joking. No, this channel is not a cult. That's absolutely ridiculous. If it were a cult, I would absolutely demand an initiation fee. And I don't do that. My content is free. So, there you go. Yeah, it would be like Scientology, right? Right, of course. Ham? Your banh mi has ham? That sounds good. Canadian Kirk says he's having veal. What is veal escalope? I don't know what that is. What's an escalope? Okay. Don't call Scientology a cult. That's a beef you can't win. Listen, we all have different takes on it. People have made fun of Scientology endlessly. All right. In truth, did I ever do major research on Scientology? No. I did watch a documentary on it once that was pretty scary. But it is what it is. I'm not educated on Scientology. It was just a joke. Don't take it seriously. Okay. How often do I eat seafood? Not that often. My wife makes gumbo and that has shrimp in it. But outside of that, at home, I don't think that we do anything else that contains fish. Mostly chicken, usually. Every once in a while, beef, but mostly chicken. Eating out as well. Don't eat seafood that often. Every once in a while, we'll go to a restaurant that has seafood, but it's not that often. So I would say seafood is actually not that often at all. Like I said, the one thing is usually the gumbo. I've never heard of Starry Soda, Willow, so I don't know what to say about that. I don't even know what MK Ultra is, Casanova, so I can't say anything about it. Who's my favorite character in Street Fighter 6 so far? Out of the ones I played? Oh, man. Honestly, I'll probably go with Blanca, because Blanca is one of the characters, again, one of my favorites of all time. He's the oddball character. He was actually the first character I ever picked competitively in Street Fighter 2. He was the character I used at first, before I started trying other styles of character. And he was actually my first character that I used in Street Fighter 4, which is why I got this shirt. A fan made it for me because he was my starter character in Street Fighter 4, my first main. I like the mix-ups and things he can do. I like tricking people into, a roll and a throw, or, do a tick into a command throw. I actually found that he apparently has even better juggles than I thought. Like, the juggle I was using was standing roundhouse, so we hit them out of the air, anti-air, and then do a Blanca ball when they're landing. Apparently, you can do standing roundhouse, dash forward, the overdrive move, which is the backflip ball. So he'll backflip, and the backflip will hit them out of the air for a juggle. Then he'll do the ball, and the ball will hit them as well. And if the ball hits them, then you can cancel into the level 3 super, which is insane. If you have a level 3 super and you're just doing one anti-air, and you can do like 50% damage, that's ridiculous. And I saw someone doing that online. I was like, oh shit. Like, that's a tactic that I absolutely want to start using when I pick him again. So I feel like Blanca is improved. I don't know if Blanca is going to be a tournament-worthy character, but I feel like he's a cool character with a lot of mix-ups. I like that about him. So I would say probably, yeah, out of the 4 I've used, probably Blanca is my favorite so far. Is Kat playing or interested in playing Street Fighter 6? She's interested in playing the World Tour. She has zero interest in playing it competitively. I already talked to her about it. She's like, nah, I don't really want to play it online. If I get it, it'll be for World Tour mode. Thing is, she's playing Diablo. And Diablo, she loved Diablo Immortal. And so now she's playing Diablo, on console, on the Series S. And she absolutely loves it. She's immersed in it. And I get the feeling this is going to be very immersive for her for a long time. Because as you know, the Diablo games are very lengthy, right? So she'll probably be playing the crap out of that for a while. And maybe she'll even do the post-game content, right? I don't know. So the thing is, if Diablo didn't come out this week, she probably would have gotten Street Fighter 6 and would have played through the World Tour mode. It's similar to Yakuza. So probably that's what she would have been playing. But because Diablo came out, that's what she's playing now. Ooh. The Dan Man says, I saw your review of the Street Fighter 2 animated movie today. Maybe we want to rewatch it. It is a classic. I agree. All right, guys, we got to get going because I have to set up for the React show. So, absolute last chance if you want to ask a question or whatever. And then we're going to adjourn. What will happen is when I adjourn this show, if you're watching live, a link will pop up that'll say go over to DSP Reacts. Please head over there, and I'll get set up over there. We'll get that stream going. There'll be a little bit of a break for me to stretch my legs, use the bathroom between, and then we'll get started over there. Okay. One final thing that I will say. Thank you for a great podcast, and for those who tipped this morning, thank you. Remember, we have a new tips link, and please use the new one. I'm gonna have to keep saying this, I know, because again, it takes a while for people to all get the information. So I'll probably have to mention it a bit today as well over on the React channel. New tips link. Please use the new tips link if you're going to support the streams. Thank you so very much for that. Okay, guys, that's it. Let's end the show. Thank you for watching, and I hope that you've enjoyed the Street Fighter content over the course of this week so far. I've loved Street Fighter 6. I can't wait for more later tonight on the late stream. But in the meantime, I'm also excited to jump back to the React stuff. Thank you all for your support, and I will see you next time.